Welcome from Mars. Whoa, here we are. We're off in space. We'll get to that reference a little later. Welcome to Mr. Rubio Used to Run, the Running Warehouse podcast. I am Joe Rubio, the Martian, really. And my assistant Martian here is Connor Blaylock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Joe, we've got another special episode today. Two very big guests that...
Not big.
I mean...
Literally, not... body-wise big.
Not physically, but in the grand scheme of things, two of the most dominant high school runners of their time. I was throwing their names around the office, and all the coaches were like, you don't understand how amazing these runners were during their time. Footlocker champion, state champion, the list just goes on and on. We've got Kira Jorgensen Abercromby and Julia Stamps Mallon. Ladies, how are we doing today? Is this your first podcast experience?
It is mine. So this is Kira. It is mine. I did do one for my student, but it was much more space related than running related.
Okay.
Because I don't think most of them know that I run. So except if they see me around campus, but.
Well, we might get into a little space later, but
Julia?
I've done one before, but I don't remember the name. So
it was memorable.
But it was fantastic.
It was impactful.
It was impactful.
Exactly. Well, lead us off.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, we talk about your just dominant history in running, and I look back in the archives, and I found, obviously in high school you both ran well, but even going back to like 8 years old, it seems like you were running at a very, very high level, traveling around to meets. How did this running career all start?
Well, pretty simply, I really wanted to play soccer, and I got kicked off the team, and they said, listen, I really think you're better at running away from the ball. And so I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of Doug Quartermarsh, who is still Santa Rosa High School's coach. And from there, I just started running, and I loved it. And believe it or not, I guess I won't say my age because those archives, you probably went really far back. But still, to this day, in running every day, I think I counted. I think I'm at 40 years. So
Wow. I've been running slightly longer than you. I don't mind saying my age because I'm proud of every year that I get. But I started at a 6th grade turkey trot. And I was pretty upset because I won the turkey, which was the number one prize, and we already had a turkey. So then I had to decide whether I brought the turkey home for Thanksgiving or my books, and I thought my mom was going to be really mad at me because my books stayed in my locker because I realized I couldn't, and I got off the bus with this 18-pound turkey.
I
probably weighed
how much you weighed.
Yeah, exactly, about then. And then high school, really, I ran a few races before that, but high school was really the big deal. And
Yeah. Were you in organized track in junior high?
No, unorganized track, as my middle school competed against our rival middle school, and that was about as track-based as we got. I ran a couple of races for San Diego Track Club, but that was it. I went to nationals one year. I think I got 120th or something,
Exactly.
and a lot of dirt.
So a little background. Kira's from San Diego. Julia's Santa Rosa. Okay. And then did you do age group track?
I did.
Okay.
Yep,
more organized.
Yeah, it was. We had a lot of great races in Northern California. So I think it was Santa Rosa Express.
Yeah.
So, so we got to travel quite a bit. And I don't remember, the funny thing is I can never remember place or time or anything. But I do remember, a couple races. I want to say I was in 6th grade, and I think I won, the 3,000 nationals. It was a breakthrough. So it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh, wow, I could actually, sprint and pass people. This is great.
How many national championships you've won when you can't remember how many?
I was young back then. I was 6th grade feels like a long time ago, but still, what I do remember is even meeting friends that became teammates of mine even at that age, which is pretty cool. So Shaolin Fulev, she was running, which then we got to compete together at Stanford. So we were running against each other when we were in 6th grade, which is crazy.
Which is awesome.
It is crazy.
And then high school, you went to
I went to 2 different high schools because they built a new high school in my town. So I went to Vista High School for 2 years and then Rancho Buena Vista for 2 years.
Okay.
So that's in Vista, California, which is, I always start with San Diego, but if you're from San Diego, then the next question someone asks is where in San Diego. Everyone who's not from San Diego will just collectively say San Diego. So I'm in North County, San Diego.
Okay.
Which is a big difference, I guess.
And you?
Santa Rosa High.
Okay.
Yeah.
and you were coached by a Cal Poly grad.
Yes. Danny Aldridge.
Danny Aldridge.
Oh, a legend.
A legend.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was super lucky. So yeah, I had he became the assistant coach at Santa Rosa High, and then got to work with him for 4 years. So he was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was a really good coach. Very tough. Tuesdays, I remember Tuesdays. Tuesdays were hard.
Well, I feel like that's a common theme because we had Jordan Hesse in recently, and she had Mondo Siqueiros, who is a local legend. And, at that age, getting a coach that knows the core, understands what it takes to run at that level is huge. And it sounds like it worked out for both of you in high school.
Yeah, my coach didn't have that kind of pedigree, to be honest. I mean, he had a really good athlete before me, a few years before me, but I think we just kind of grew together. I think for me, to be honest, which was a huge thing, is I didn't do a ton of miles. And we raced ourselves into shape. I mean, it was the days when you had a dual meet on Wednesday and you ran an invitational on Saturday. So I didn't have a lot of time to do miles. And I think that was actually really, really good for me. In hindsight, I mean, I don't think we planned it that way, but I was never, when I went to Colorado and worked with Mark Wetmore, I was definitely more of a high mileage, but he almost didn't take me on because of that. Because he's like, this is not the way you run. So.
And when did you find out you were good? It was just how many state titles did you win in track?
I won 3 in track in the 1600, and then I won 2. I can't believe I just said only in cross country, but they didn't start the state meet till I was a junior. So I was in the first one. So if you see the movie about the first state meet, that I was there, but it didn't look like that because there were actually girls. It doesn't show girls running, but we were there. I promise.
Was that like a documentary?
No, it was Jim White.
Yeah,
it was Kevin McFarlane. Yeah, with Kevin Costner.
Who would you like to play you?
Oh, in a movie?
In a movie.
Oh my gosh. Who would want to play me in a movie? That's probably a better question.
How about Scarlett Johansson?
I don't think it's a very good movie. I don't know. It would have to be someone that can run because I'm sorry, my kids will tell you it's very hard for me to watch a movie when watching people who can't run. Like I really have to put my head between my legs, take deep breaths.
It's kind of like we had Vince Engel who did Nike ads, and he was a runner. He said first thing that turned him off is if he looked at this ad with someone running way too fast or way too slow or didn't have form or whatever. Right. Just turn them off. And you're the same way.
Yeah, totally. Or the ones that try to look like Usain Bolt but aren't that fast, and so their hands are all straight. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just run like a normal human. It's okay.
So you won the state meet in the mile 3 times. When was your first? Were they consecutive?
Consecutive, yeah.
Okay.
I won as a sophomore.
Sophomore, okay. And then I'm sure you doubled.
I did. I was trying to do the double to win the double. I never quite got there.
Okay.
So it's a hard double to do because you have to get 2 miles in before the 2 mile, right? So you have the mile prelim and then the mile final, and then the 2 mile, and the mile was my favorite. And so by the time I got to the 2 mile, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
But you were the first national champion. Was it Kinney or Footlocker at the time?
We were Kinney. So, you said Footlocker.
Yeah, right.
But now it's back to Footlocker. It changes all these names. I can't keep track.
Right.
But, so we were Kinney at the time.
Right. And going in, were you the favorite?
I think, and Julia can back me up, I think walking into that meet and being a favorite only happens a few times. And I don't think that was me. I think, like, Melody Fairchild, far and away the favorite. Right. That was...
What about Dina?
Yeah, I think so. Those type of people, Jordan Hesse, like those are the people that become the favorites. I think there was a bunch of people they were talking about, and I was fortunate to win it. I feel very fortunate about that meet. I don't know how many people know much about that meet, but they treat you like absolute.
Well, that was a time when
champions.
There was one national championship.
Yeah.
That was it. There wasn't Running Lane. There wasn't Brooks. There wasn't New Balance. There wasn't Nike and Exact.
Yeah.
There was one.
Yeah.
So significant. And then, did you ever double at this California state?
I did. I doubled my senior year, and I think I was successful at it. I think I won.
Well, yeah,
both.
you won them both.
But
so
I have to look now. I don't remember. I'm sitting here listening to her. I'm like, I'm so impressed. You remember? I'm like trying to think back. I was like, wait, what state meets? I know I had a girl from Thousand Oaks beat me once in the 3,000 or the 32.
Was that Mortensen?
Yes,
okay.
Kim Mortensen. But I think that was
Didn't she have the national record at some point?
She did.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she was decent.
She was very good. Yeah.
She was decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's all right.
And I'm trying to think, too. I think my freshman year for cross, I had a ruptured appendix. So I couldn't run cross country. And then, I think I won the 3 cross country.
Did that just like light your fire that you're like, I'm just going to come out and train even harder?
Oh, totally. I tell my kids this all the time. It's like sometimes injuries are a blessing in disguise. You just don't know it now, but you'll know it later. Mm-hmm. And I definitely was. I mean, I think, I say Danny was hard, but I was harder on myself. And so I would sit there. I remember with my ruptured appendix and asking for PT to come in. And they're like, well, you don't need any PT. You have a ruptured appendix. And I was like, yeah, but I need to know how many laps I could walk around, the hospital, and can I at least do dumbbells, So, but yeah, that definitely fired me up for, I think I made the world cross country team though, that cross country. I got in shape within 2 months or something, and then qualified for worlds.
Wow.
Well, that's decent too.
It's okay.
Yeah, it worked. It worked out. I got to go to Europe. I think it was England. I don't remember which one it was at.
When going back into Kinney or Footlocker, that was the race. Do you remember, because that course, I don't think it's really changed much over the years, and that was in your hometown. What is that course like for someone who's never ran Balboa?
It's deceptively hard. Is what I would say.
You just ran that last year, didn't you?
I've ran a version. Yeah, I ran the Balboa 4 mile. It's a.
And I haven't seen it run recently. So it was the same all 4 years that I ran it. But the beginning part, has you go into these woods and you're kind of high feeting it to try and get over those roots, and then that hill. It feels like it shouldn't be that hard. But it was hard.
Deceiving.
And then the downhill's pretty steep. And then, suddenly then you're back on the figure 8 loop again. And it's super crowd friendly, which is nice. That's not normal for cross country. I don't think there's not really a place that people can't get to. I mean, they can if they want to, but it's just it's always beautiful. I know they tried to go to Florida. You ran in Florida, didn't you?
I didn't.
You didn't?
Yeah, I was Balboa.
You were Balboa the whole time? Well, I know they started to try and go to Florida. Mm-hmm. San Diego's better, right?
Yeah,
sorry,
for sure.
Florida.
No, it is.
But it's just more predictable. It's a beautiful course. But
and the fact that for cross country, the only way to compare is by doing the same course, and so it's so nice to have the history of it, and I think also too just the family that you meet. I'm still the dearest friends, like Carrie Tolson, all these names from the past because of Footlocker. So.
Yeah, I think it's really true. And the first year I qualified, we had one other person from San Diego ever make it, and that year 4 of us qualified. And it was really great for me because I think if it had been something that I only did it by myself, I was a freshman, I would have been phenomenally scared. And just being there with 3 people that I'd run meets with before that, and we all kind of had to do the presses stuff together, it made that way easier and more fun. And I don't know, that meet is unbelievable. And so I hope, if the Kinney people, Footlocker people, it's old time, it just gets stuck in there as Kinney. I mean, I hope they keep doing it. I know there's a lot of pressure with all the other meets that Joe, you were talking about, but I don't know. It's just unbelievable in how great it makes you feel as an athlete. I think that was kind of the first indication for me that I could be good.
Right.
Was being treated like that as a high school student. I mean, it's
as far as getting recruited out of high school, I'm guessing you guys had a lot of people knocking on your doors. Some people, it's surprising they don't have anyone. They're really good, and it's just like coaches assume they're going somewhere.
Yeah.
But both of you guys went to high-powered academic and athletic institutions, right?
It's so different now. I have a high school senior and high school junior, and just the whole, not just the recruiting process, but just getting into college, it's so different. My daughter just asked me, well, what was your college essay about? I'm pretty sure I wrote one. That's what but I don't remember sitting there the summer before and working on it and doing all of that. But it's the same athletically. I think it was just different. I whittled it down pretty early because I wanted to concentrate on cross country. So I got down to 4 or 5. We took recruiting trips we only could do 5 at the time. Now I think they can do 1 billion if they want, which feels like I liked making someone tell me I had to get it down to
like
a 5.
In-N-Out Burger, right? It's like you don't have a lot of choices.
Yeah, I just had to bring it down. So I think that kind of made it so it didn't seem so like you had a bunch of offers coming at you all the time. Because once you whittled it down to that 5 and you took that 5, that's who you were going with.
Do you remember what those 5 were?
I do, actually. Cal Poly was one. They were D2 at the time. Lance Harder was here. UCLA, University of Oregon, Texas, Austin, and Stanford was on the 5, but then I didn't do a trip to Stanford in the end, so I only did 4 trips.
I mean, I made my life easy. I knew right away I wanted to go to Stanford. And so once Vin realized, okay, like, let's make this work, I did 2 recruiting visits because I had a dear friend at University of Colorado. So Wetmore was like, come on out, have fun, I'll see you later. And I think I was just hanging out with my friends. And then did Stanford, and then that was it. I was like, I'm done. And I did look at UCLA, and I really challenged them on like, okay, this is great, but I was such a trail runner. Like, I love trail running. And they couldn't show me where the trails were. Although now living down there, I realized, wow, there actually are a lot of trails. Like, maybe they just didn't really want me. And then Arizona was the other one because I really enjoyed the coach.
Yeah. Was it Murray?
Huh?
Murray?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But what a lot of people don't understand is, thinking UCLA is on both your lists, and, right now UCLA isn't anything. But at the time, I mean, you went, Messina was the coach, right?
Yeah, Bob Messina was my coach,
right.
And then Bob Larson.
And then Bob Larson. But Messina was the person who recruited you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I wouldn't have gone to that school without Messina.
Yeah, and he coached Polly Plummer in high school, right?
Right, yeah.
And at UCLA. Yeah, she went to UCLA too.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some pedigree there.
Yeah, completely. And then Bobby Kersey was our head track coach. Having Jackie Joyner Kersey in the weight room with you was not a negative for sure.
No.
That
Could you outdo her?
Yeah, every once in a while I would outlift her. She was kind of skinny and not very strong. Gosh, that woman was amazing. Yeah, I'll tell you a story about her if you want.
Yeah, of course.
So she probably wouldn't even remember me for anything, but this stuck in my head. So she would come down into the weight room when we were in the weight room sometimes. And we're distance running, lifting, you're doing squats with the bar, right? And she comes over and she puts these 50-pound like weights, the plate weights, 2 of them on her legs to do a wall squat, right? Right there, she's putting on more than most of us weigh that are standing there. She just puts it on her legs, and she's chit-chatting, like, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then Bobby Kersey comes to the top of the stairs at the weight room, and he screams, Jorgensen, because that's what he used to call me. That's my maiden name. Jorgensen, is Jackie down there? She's like, don't let him see me. I have to go out and run if he sees me. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I can't hide you. You're Jackie Joyner Kersey. She's like, just stand in front of me. He says, are you hiding Jackie? And I said, I don't know. Can you see her? She's like, no. Well then, no. She's like, good one, Kira. Good one. Yeah, it was pretty awesome at UCLA being surrounded by not just the greatness that was on our track team, but the greatness that trained in that area. Gail Devers was our assistant track coach, which is, and then Jackie was there, and it was really phenomenal place.
Yeah, because when'd you go there? 87?
I graduated high school in 89.
Okay, 89. But still, it was within recent memory that they were winning gold medals at LA Olympics, 84.
Yeah, it was success breeding success, really, for a long time. Yeah. And Bobby Kersey knew how to get coaches in there. We had an amazing shot put coach. We had, our distance program was not as good as our sprint program, for sure, because our sprint program, that's how you win championships in NC2A. I think we all, in track at least, you have to have 100, 200 teams. So. But it was really amazing, and I loved living in LA. I loved going to UCLA. I wouldn't have traded it for a billion things. I would have loved to have run better, but that school was everything the hype had for it, for sure.
Right.
And I feel like they're doing a pretty good job though right now. I feel like we're now
Johanna Hayes, she's going to bring that school back, I think.
Yeah. So I think everything has its phases, right?
Yeah.
And like it's kind of fun to see now for my junior, now that she's in her junior year, she's starting to talk to different coaches, and That one may or may not be on her list, but she's definitely been talking to them, and I know really enjoys the conversation. And we're starting to get to know the college coaches too, and I've actually really appreciated it and get to know their philosophies and so forth. And I've been really impressed with UCLA and kind of the direction they're going. So good things, I think, hopefully to come with more stuff with UCLA, but they seem to have good coaches now.
Julia, with Stanford.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
I mean, the amount of athletes that you had there when you were there is just freaking insane.
Unbelievable.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's how they always were, though. It's unbelievable.
But at that time, it was like,
It was fine.
It was like 15 points of Pac-12, you know, across on the guy's side. It was like nuts.
Yeah.
I think you had Stember, you had Jennings, you had
Riley.
freaking Frack.
Yeah.
Yeah, freaking frack.
Yeah.
I just saw, we just did a reunion. We just had a reunion up at NC2A's, and it felt like time never even went by. Like we saw Gabe on video. I think he's somewhere in
Bhutan?
Asia. Yes, actually, not very far.
Really?
Yes, seriously.
Playing drums somewhere.
He is. He's building like a
Oh,
retreat.
drums, I forgot
Yeah,
the
and he has like a
drums.
long beard now. We
of course
saw
he
him
does.
on like FaceTime when
He's
we were
hanging out
at
with Cat
reunion.
Stevens or something.
Probably,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, but we had it was such a fun team actually, and I've gotten to know some of the girls and on the team now, and have really enjoyed getting to know them and kind of where they're at in their life's journey, and being able to cheer them on at NC2A's was amazing. But like I even told them, I was like, wait, you guys don't have drums? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, we're bringing this ritual back. So yeah, we had drum circles. At NC2A's and at the Olympic trials, and
So they don't do the drums anymore?
I'm so sad. No, but
How
Coach
else do you
JJ,
get
watch
through a
out, we're bringing
10K?
back the drums.
Wow.
So I lived in a dead house at Stanford. So we had these houses, and they're called dead houses, and like. I mean,
Like Grateful Dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
way.
It was actually, he was a dancer. He was like he was like a very big part of the Grateful Dead, the guy that owned all these houses. Wow. And so all of a sudden, like we ended up getting all of them to like support us, and people would come out and they would have big drum circles, and it was basically, Grateful Dead reunion at track meets. And I think we need to bring that back.
We do.
I think so.
Actually, I just ran wharf to wharf, and there were quite a few drum circles along the way. So
We should get their info.
yeah, I mean, it's great. Like when you're running music, like
Oh, we had a blast. Yeah, we had a really fun team. And then it goes on and on, right? Like I said, one of my best friends won the gold medal in the 200 butterfly at Stanford. So like we just had like a real amazing group, and obviously they still do, but in our era, like not just even on the track and field, but across. And it was nice to have the camaraderie.
yeah.
So.
And I remember a story you told me. Maybe Vin doesn't want to hear this story.
Oh no, not the skateboard.
No, the surfing story.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, that's better.
Afterwards, we want to hear the skateboard story.
Yeah, I think it took. I think it was like 10 years since I saw Vid, and when I saw him just a few weeks ago, he's like, "I know you, skateboard," and I was like, "Oh," so that's how I go down. But I think. Well, I remember when I was being recruited, there was like a clause in like the contract saying you can't do other sports or this or that, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to take that out. And the one thing what Vin knew with me is I love to ski, I love to backpack, I love to water ski, snow ski, surf. I even skydived. So I had all these extracurricular activities that I enjoyed doing. But yeah, when I guess it would be my sophomore, junior year, I decided to turn in my morning runs for morning surf sessions down in Santa Cruz.
Did you run that by coach?
Well, not entirely, but I think it was noticeable when I would show up at practice and there might be a surfboard attached to the car. But one day I did have a little fall and broke a few ribs. And I think maybe coach didn't want to know that. So I still did the workout.
Yeah, because you can still
With
run.
broken ribs?
You can still run. It just hurts.
Oh, like mad. And I remember them just saying, well, you can't really do anything about it. And I'm like, I just remember still the breathing. But yeah.
Wasn't it quarters?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was like, I don't know, 12 quarters,
Oh,
No,
geez.
it's 300s. 300s with a 100 jog recovery. But that paced run in the morning, was a big workout for us. We did like a 20-minute tempo, and then in the afternoon do our 300s. And in between those two is when the accident happened. It was one of many. So that's the surf story.
The skateboard story.
Oh, well, the skateboard story is definitely a little bit more of a serious. That was the career ender. Oh. So I went surfing that morning, and then we had finals. So I had my bag full of books, and I always had like low blood pressure, so I sometimes pass out really easily. And so I was skateboarding down and completely blacked out, and had a tib fib spiral, so I couldn't walk for about a year and a half. I couldn't walk.
Ooh,
yeah.
Geez.
So it was a bad one. I had like an external fixator, like they had to elongate the bone.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where I kind of had to make a, now hopefully we're kind of getting into that serious, sad conversation, but it wasn't sad. It was very happy. Quite honestly, I always feel like things happen for a reason. And at that period of time, I saw so many of my friends going into the running direction, right? And of them, like maybe one makes it. And, I definitely was going, I was thinking that was going to be my career, but in a blink of an eye, it was made up for me. And, in 1 second, I thought I was going to go run for, the Nike farm team or up in Oregon to, maybe I should get a job, and interviewed, got a job and moved to New York City and started trading with Morgan Stanley, something I totally didn't think I was going to do.
So you're like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. No, but yes, I did enjoy something different. And I really I'm thankful for that injury, because probably the biggest joy in my whole life is having my girls, and I wouldn't have them if that journey wasn't something that happened to me. So, again, it's always looking at your past and looking at decisions that you made. And, I always tell my girls too, it's the price we pay to play. And unfortunately, when you decide to be able to do all these amazing things, sometimes things happen along the way, but you just have to pick up all the good pieces and move forward with it. And that's what I did. But I'm still running. Yeah. A year and a half later, I ran the New York City Marathon.
Wow. Yeah. After that serious of an injury.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been like a year and 12 months. I think I was running for 3 months.
When I imagine moving to New York, New York's got an amazing running scene. That must
phenomenal.
have kind of got you back excited about running again.
Mary Wittenberg. We had New York Roadrunner or New York Athletic Club. Mm-hmm. And honestly, we had so much fun. I say this now, I think it sounds really exhausting, but we'd go to bed at midnight, right? Because you're doing the New York lifestyle. Yeah. And then you wake up at 5, you beat your friends for a run in Central Park, you're so happy, and then you head to the office. I'm trying to think how I did that for so long, the 5 hours of sleep, but New York kind of does that to you. Mm-hmm. And still to this day, also those running friends are it's funny. You could ask me times, you could ask me places, and I'd be like, don't you have Google for that? Can we just look it up? But when you talk about the people, that to me is what's been so key in my whole running career is, your Stanford community, my New York, athletic club community that we had, we're still best friends. I don't know. I guess it takes that little thing that you want to feel like you need to go for a run. Mm-hmm. And when somebody else has that, you're like, oh my God, you're my tribe.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I was just saying that to the high school athletes at San Luis High about teamwork. And, everyone has these sayings, teamwork makes the dream work. And you hear all of these, and all high school kids, their eyes roll back and they're like, oh, great, we're going to hear about that. But every aspect of my life, there's been something I've taken from running, and teamwork is probably the biggest one. It's learning to operate as a team. And I think most people, I'm speaking to the choir here, most people don't understand that how team-oriented cross-country is, because everyone thinks running is just so individual. I'm like, why would you do that by yourself? That sounds like an awful idea to go out and run a 10-mile run by yourself. To me, maybe other people like to go do it by themselves. I like to be with someone else. I will, Coach can attribute to that. I will do any workout under the sun, and if I have a teammate there, I complain less.
Yeah. Not possible. No. Yeah. So you had a change of coaches.
Yeah.
So you ended your career at UCLA with a different coach than who recruited you.
I did.
And how did that go?
It probably could have been smoother as an adult, and I look back on it. We'll just say that I went a little kicking and screaming. I was pretty mad at UCLA. You know, I'd said I'd gone there for Bob Messina. That's who I wanted to run for, and the programs were separate. I don't know about how it was at Stanford, but we had Larson was coaching the boys team, and Messina was coaching the girls team, and then they put us together, and it felt kind of like as a distance program we were an afterthought. That's kind of how I took it. Like they were gonna. There's probably other things at play that they didn't tell us about, right? But you know, and so I was not a very. I don't even know the right words. I wasn't mature about it. You know, I really took it as an assault. Like I felt like we were being just passed off. And so I didn't make Bob Messina's life very
Bob Larson.
Easy. I mean, Bob Larson's life very, very easy. But then I guess it was my fifth year. I had a fifth year, which is really funny because I had one class left I had to take and I missed it and it was only offered in the spring. So I had to, in quotes, stay for another year at UCLA, which was amazing. And I became the manager. And that's where my relationship with Larson, I think, completely changed. And I really appreciate that man more than I can say.
I saw him and Eugene and I mentioned you. And he said, give her a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, he got married?
Again?
Well, yeah. But, you know.
I did know that, actually.
Okay. Yeah. He mentioned that. We were at Joe Vihill's. It was a memorial. And Bob was speaking. And he mentioned that him and Martha got married. Which is kind of funny because I saw him the day before. And I bought Martha a glass of wine. And I said, does Bob want one? She goes, no, he doesn't want one. And then later on, I saw her again. She said, you should have got Bob that glass of wine. He drank all my wine.
Well, and just for people who don't know Bob Larson, obviously a San Diego legend with Grossmont College, Hummel Toads, and then UCLA. I imagine
he was Meb's coach.
He was Meb's coach. He's still Meb's coach, yeah.
I remember he was a legend back then too.
Right.
And he's exactly what you see is what you get. You know, and I'm actually really mad at him. It's probably my major regret in college that I didn't allow that to be in a situation that it could have been.
So what was his style like from a coaching standpoint? Like how did he go about like training? Was it a very like tempo focused program?
Sure. I actually don't remember, to be honest.
Wow.
Like I feel like it probably was. We didn't go up a mileage. We were kind of trying to figure this all out. We had an amazing manager, Andy Chan, who coaches up in now at Sacred Heart.
Yeah. And he coached Shannon Roberry, right?
Shannon Roberry, yeah. And he helped us a lot more, I think, because we were, like I said, not kindly kicking and screaming about it. So Andy Chan did more of our workouts. He would get them from Larson. Yeah. Where I really actually understood Larson more as a coach was actually the managing the next year, because I just got to see he's so level-headed and calm. And he says everything at the same level, and he has this hand motion he does when he talks, and he'll give the workout, and then he'll be like, and that's it. And then he just walks away, and you're like, wait, questions like, what is happening? And he's like, nope, if you didn't get it, and when the hand was moving from left to right, that was it. And, you know, I mean, he's just a stellar human. Yeah. I think that's...
And he's amazing from the standpoint of one time, you know, I don't know what meet, but he had an athlete that made an Olympic team.
Yeah.
And we said, so Coach, what are you going to do from here on out with the training? And he turns around and goes, what would you do? I'm interested to hear what you would do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they hired Eric Peterson at the time who went on and coached. I have a funny story
I can't tell about that. I'll tell you afterwards.
He was at Tulane and is now up doing some stuff in Oregon. And so he started to take over the girls program that my final year.
Right. Eric's having quite a bit of success up in Oregon at the high school level.
Yeah, he's doing great. So, you know, it was just a turmoil time. I wasn't running great, so that was also probably another reason I wasn't jumping in with both feet.
And then you went to Colorado for graduate work.
I did. I went to Colorado for graduate work and begged Mark Wetmore to let me run with him, and that was really eye-opening. Because again, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but I'm a pretty low mileage runner, still am. I'm actually trying my entire life to be the one runner that doesn't run the marathon. That's like a massive goal for me, because everyone feels like they ask you, "Oh, you run? Well, what's your marathon time?" I'm like, there are other runners. Some of us can run the 800. It's okay. But so Wetmore is amazing. Talk about calm, and you know his he says 5 things during a race: good, up a step, nothing, or the one time he said you're going to be close, which I processed for about a whole lap to try and figure out what he meant. But yeah, and Wetmore was amazing to run for. He hadn't started really the post-collegiate group yet. So I was part of that with Shane Culpepper start. Yeah, Shane's amazing. And it was a great place to run, live, and be part of that community.
Right. And that's where you became an aeronautical something or other, right?
Aerospace engineer.
Aerospace engineer.
Yeah. We'll get you.
Okay. And that's what you do at Poly.
I do, yeah. I teach at Cal Poly on aerospace engineering, and Cal Poly's slow. Sorry, maybe some people think Pomona.
Maybe they're thinking Humboldt.
Yeah, or
no one's thinking Humboldt.
But yeah, and it's really, I love teaching. I think it's where I found my passion. The students at Cal Poly are unbelievably intelligent. I hope they're all listening, and smart, and it's just awesome to watch the next generation kind of grow and blossom in this area of a future that we really need smart engineers to kind of guide us through, for sure.
Right. I was remember Conover. Weren't you shooting off rockets? The kids were shooting off
yeah.
Not really kids, or young adults were shooting off rockets.
So, and we have a freshman class where they build rockets out of recycled materials. They can spend up to $5 on something, and we give them an engine. And then we give them an egg, and the whole idea is to see if they can make the egg survive. Well, you do this on 5 weeks of instruction. Like, there's not a lot we're going to tell them that's going to be successful. And so basically it's a team building exercise, working with people who are also equally smart. We're the best in your high school because they're all then valedictorians of every high school around. And so we're out there, and Mark Conover, who used to coach at Cal Poly, he doesn't know we're launching rockets.
It's on the grass field,
the
right?
grass fields up there, and that's where they would do workouts on Saturdays. And I see the guys, and I see Mark, and I walk over to Mark, and I say, hey, Conover, we're going to be shooting rockets. And he's like, he was so mad. He's like, we reserve the field. I'm like, well, we can try and share the field, but if you hear me screaming, it probably means it's coming your way, because I have no control. These are freshmen. Like, these are not going in the direction you want them to.
Knowing Conover, too, he probably was like, we're just going to run the workout anyway.
Yeah, he did. He just ran the workout. They ran it kind of modified. I had to scream a few times. But yeah, he was, Cal Poly, but we didn't hit anybody that day.
Success.
Yeah, that day.
What are you doing these days?
I have a marketing agency.
Okay.
So I started that, I want to say about 10 years ago, and, created an event out of nothing and sold it to REI. And then from there, just kind of started my agency working with like a lot of outdoor brands and, athletic lifestyle type brands. So, and I love it. For me, I was really trying to figure out, going from hedge funds, finance to something different, and to be able to raise 2 girls, that to me was probably more important. So creating a lifestyle that could be conducive to that. And I did. And yeah, now we've got a team all across the U.S. and we're having tons of fun working with brands like North Face, Hoka, all those great brands that are out there. So
well, that's where we first all kind of reconnected was at the North Face Dirt Circus event hosted by Running Warehouse.
Oh, whatever.
Nice plug there. Good job.
I'm an idiot because the guy who put it on, Michael, we're having a beer, and he goes, I got to introduce you to this lady. She ran at Stanford. Her name's Julie. And then I'm talking to her all morning, and I think I asked her, do you know Julia Stamps? She goes, I'm Julia Stamps. I go, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Well, you look exactly the same.
I know, but she had glasses on and a floppy hat or something. She was like Jackie O over there, just hiding out.
Oh my God. Well, don't worry. It's happened before. So and especially too with the girls, they always get that.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing with both your daughters, all your daughters, 4 daughters are competing in track and field, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that like? I mean, do you?
We're just trying to keep the sport populated with strong women.
You're doing well, I don't know. It just must be difficult. Not. Maybe it's not. I don't know. What's this? How do you?
Yeah,
I don't know.
They gotta know how good you guys
do.
were.
They listen to their mom, or do they think like they know everything?
I think I've heard it before. Mom, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, of course I don't, right? But no, it's super fun for me to see that they love it. But I'd be lying if I didn't say there was a little PTSD in there, right? Just similar to you, I didn't run that many miles in high school, but I definitely worked out a lot. Mm-hmm. And so, being like, okay, no, you only could run up to 20 miles. I think even Ben gave me a bad time for this because our now junior was like growing a ton. I mean, she grew like a foot, like, and like she's 5'10", she's massive, tall, beautiful, tall. It's, she's only run 20 miles a week and she's done incredibly well based on that mileage. Now we're going to like let her go. And, I probably have to like look the other way and just be like, okay, go do your thing. But we just wanted to be so cautious that they kind of went through that, high school is it's so weird out there right now. Like,
right.
Phenomenal. I mean, it's amazing to see the talent, but I always just get so concerned on making sure that, during this period of time, they're growing healthy and they're becoming, women and, they're able to, take the load when they're ready to take the load, which is different for each kid.
Yeah. I agree.
So that's the one part of having a female. We know a lot, but the funny part is, and you probably see this in coaching, right? The coaches are still doing the same things. Like, and that's the part where, I try to keep a little bit of balance of trying to bring in some of the knowledge that we do have, which I think is important, especially for, I don't know much about the male athletes, but definitely know a lot more about the female athletes. And, for me, why I shattered my leg is because I had weak bones, and so I didn't want to repeat the same things. And I kind of wanted to stop that with our girls. So
yeah, I think for my kids, I just wanted to make sure that they wanted to run because they wanted to run, not because they thought I wanted them to run. So I actually have called my mom a few times to say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry I put you through all this pain of watching me run all the time, because being in the stands is hard.
Yeah.
Like watching your kid compete, just take your heart and then throw it on the ground and stomp on it, because it's just so hard, because it's way easier. I'd rather go run the race, maybe even a marathon if you made me. I don't know. But I love watching them compete, though, and try. But I just always wanted to make sure they wanted to do it for them and not because they thought I wanted them to do it.
Right.
So, because I think that's super important, because you see it a lot, that there's not just parents who had success. Actually, I think usually parents who had success are better about not pushing their kids than some of the parents that didn't have success because they want it so much more. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, if you want to run, sure, great, that'd be awesome.
I mentioned that to Julia. I was talking to Bob Kennedy. His daughter runs at Stanford.
That's a little name drop there.
Well, no, the thing is so it's a quick story, but Milo, who ran at San Luis High with my daughter, runs at San Luis High. And I went to junior high with his dad. And so we were at Petra having some pizza or something. I said, how's Milo like Stanford? He goes, he loves it. He loves everything about it. And then his wife was there, and they go, except, a lot of the parents just don't like the school. They don't like the program. They complain about everything. The training's wrong, except for one guy. And I said, who's that? Well, he says he knows you. He jogs a little, and he sells running shoes. His name's Bob. I go, Bob who? They go, I think it's Kennedy. And I said, well, let me give you a little background on Bob Kennedy, right? And, I go through the whole thing, NCAA champion as a freshman, as senior, Kinney national champion, all this stuff.
We won
ran the Olympics
year.
first.
Oh, really?
Guy.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Your year? No, your year, right?
Mm-hmm, my year.
Yeah, he won your year. You had Matt Downen?
Yes.
I think. Okay.
Yep.
And then, so I'm talking.
Joe knows your results better than anyone.
Well, I know most of that. Anyways, but so Bob was saying, Bob was the first white guy under 13 minutes in the 5K, and he was leading the Olympics in '96.
Yeah.
Oh, and Nike named a spike after him.
Right.
I mean, and then I told Bob Kennedy the Bob Kennedy story. Okay. And he goes, I can't believe these parents. He said, I've trained with the top people in the world, and I say nothing because the coaches are in charge, and I trust them, and I want my daughter just to have her experience. It's her experience, not mine. And every time I see him, I said, how's your daughter doing? He goes, great. I'm not saying a word.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's
and she is doing great.
Right.
Yeah.
But you help out there, right? I mean, you volunteer.
Well, I just talked to some of the girls, and always there to kind of support, especially more of like not so much the running, but the what do you want to do after, or what's what are you thinking about doing, or how can I support? I always want to be supportive, really, to any female athlete out there, especially in that college time frame, because I think it's hard to say, like, am I going to go get a job? Am I going to go continue running? Like, how do I get connected to the right people? And so just being able to offer a hand. But yeah, Sophia's awesome. She had a great year.
She did.
I was excited for her.
She ran in Eugene.
She did.
Well, I mean,
She was third.
NCs. But also,
At NCs.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was third NCs, and then she ran USATFs.
Yes.
So that's where I saw her and Bob again.
When it's interesting with like Bob and your daughter, where like you see like that success and that talent and that drive transfers, but we've also like over the years seen some people with two parents that were just athletic phenoms, and the kids they didn't have it, and it's funny how sometimes that works out, and you can't necessarily like do anything about it. Sometimes the kids just don't have the drive. Sometimes they don't have the genetic makeup that...
Or the opposite happens, too.
Or the opposite happens.
I mean, Scott Strand's a good friend of mine, but his son is a lot better than he was. Ethan?
Really?
Well, Ethan Strand is pretty good. Yeah. But I think the same thing with my daughters. They're way smarter than their father.
Well, they might have got it from the other side.
Yeah, they must have got it from the other side. They certainly didn't get it from their dad. So. But real quick, going back to your thing about throwing your heart on the thing where your kid's competing.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing when I was announcing the CIF finals at San Luis Obispo High School.
Right.
And my daughter was the last competitor of the meet.
I remember this.
And she was going for the championship. And I have to play it cool the whole time while I'm announcing her results. And then she ended up winning. And everyone says, "You're not excited." I said, "I can't be. I got to be impartial about this whole thing, right?"
You're not even setting it up right. Like the entire team was finished except for girls pole vault, and so they were surrounding her. I mean, it was like an after-school special at the end of this CIF. The whole team surrounding. She's like, "No, and clap," and then the next time she's like, "Okay, you can clap," and
Yeah, she had incredible. A PR and she won, and it was great.
Yeah,
but I had to keep calm.
Yeah.
You can't.
Who is that? There was an announcer that was like that in the Olympics. I'm blanking on his name. British.
Snoop Dogg?
No.
You think Tim Hutchings? No. Whiteman's dad.
Yes, Whiteman's dad. I mean, he's announcing it was world champs or Olympics.
World champs, yeah. And
he's announcing, and his kid comes out of nowhere and wins.
The 1500.
He's like, you get the back room has him like this, and he's holding on to other people, like shaking, and his voice is super calm as he's announcing, but his arms are going like this. It's incredible.
It's pretty cool.
But I think with the other thing about having kids, and I don't know, Julie, if you felt like this, I hadn't been back to Woodward Park, the course in Fresno since I ran, but maybe in college, because we ran there in college too. And then my daughter ran there, I guess I went her sophomore year, and I was like this, memories just slapping you in the face. The course is exactly the same, and I'm on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember this was Darcy Ariola, where, and those kind of things. And it's just amazing how memories that are, thrown on by Depeche Mode lyrics kind of can surface every once in a while when you get in those situations. And the Mount Sac was the same way, that part's really super cool.
It's awesome, right? And the other part you guys continue to mention is just the lifelong friendships that you develop in the sport.
Yeah. Well, actually, for me now, going to the meets, I kind of feel like it's like a mini party because, I'll spot out like the other parents that are, have kids that are running, but, now their kids are running. Mm-hmm. And like, similarly, right? Like, to your point, like you feel like your heart's like on the ground. And I talk to my girls about it. I'm like, well, are you like nervous just at the start, or is it like the whole thing? They're like, just the start. I'm like, gosh darn it, I'm like the whole thing. Like, I'm like, that's the difference, is you're nervous the whole time versus like nervous, the gun goes off and then you're like, okay, now I'm going to race.
And then forget trying to record at the same time.
Because that's not going to happen.
My voice goes to dolphin pitch right at the end, the last 50 meters. And I'm like way super high octave and volume. And they're like, can you just mute it when you film?
But isn't that meet that meet awesome?
With the Woodward?
California State meet?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
That's the part that I find so fascinating, and I think not Footlocker is a part of that, but like I felt like in our generations, cross country was so huge, and cross country is still really huge, but I feel like now that emphasis is put on track, like in a much bigger way. So that's one part that I found really interesting from getting back into it with the girls, and maybe that's because my girls are just a lot faster than I was, because they're like can run an 800, whereas I would not run it very fast. But that's one thing that I've noticed. So we've been focusing more on the track side,
right?
But I mean, running 20 miles a week. Let's face it, like you're at half your mileage once you run.
But it's pretty cool going to the state meet, and the parents that have never been to anything like that. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's just
It is
thousands
insane.
and thousands of people, and most have no freaking clue what's going on.
And I think that's amazing.
Which is
too.
cool.
Yeah, I love kind of running around with new cross-country parents because they're like, what do we do?
Follow
I'm
me.
like,
Just follow me.
either that or follow a coach.
Yeah.
Like, follow the coach, find the coach for your team and follow them because they're going to take you to the spots you need to be in. And cross-country for me, I just love watching people give absolutely everything. And you see it in track. You absolutely see it in track. But there's something kind of special about cross for me that it's just because there's 3 miles of time where you doubt yourself almost. There's going to be some point in that race where you think, if I fall right here, I'll be fine. I can pretend I had a rolled ankle or something. And there's always a point. And there's so many points that you're by yourself. You know, where track, you're just in, someone's watching you the whole time.
Yeah.
Fishbowl,
That's kind of what I like about cross country is in track, you're very rarely you're going to see someone like make a big move and lose everyone. You always have them in sight, but in cross country, you can make these big moves around turns and someone can, run away from the whole pack. And it's exciting.
Actually, at Stanford's cross country course, they used to come finish through that tunnel. Do they still do that?
No.
Well, they don't have it anymore.
Oh, it's not
we gotta
on the
bring
road.
that back.
JJ's needs to bring this back.
Yeah,
It was such
I
a good
The
remember-
drums and the meat.
the drums and the meat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a little ass. Not that these coaches have anything on their plates right now, but
Yeah, when we ran, you went under the tunnel in the back area.
And
back
then you
40.
guys ran 50,000 miles back there because boys cross country is long.
Stupid, yeah.
And then you come back and you go through that tunnel.
Right.
And I remember Bob Larson and Bob Messina would always say, make your move in the right as you get out of the tunnel because nobody can see it.
Right.
Right. And then you're 5 steps in front of them before
Right, and
they
then you
know
got to
what
go around
happened.
that green, and then you're, 400 meters or 500 meters
Yeah.
from the finish
Yeah, that
line.
was my favorite part.
Yeah, the
100
game's done.
meters to go.
Oh, that one
Flat
hill
finish.
though in the back.
Oh, yeah. It was
hill.
really a hard course.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just remember once I got to the top, I'm like, oh, thank God that's over, right?
I know.
And
Can you imagine being the guys that then they had to go I'm not kidding, 44
Yeah.
miles further down the road? Cross country 10K.
I feel so
it's
bad.
long.
I do feel bad for the boys because it's like, these high school seniors run the 5K and then it's like, okay, next year 10K, we're just going to double it. I mean, that's a totally different distance.
That's a
by the
long
way.
cross country race.
I was mad for just one extra K. I'm like, come on, what is a 6K? Who even knows what a 6K
I went
is?
from community college at West Valley, and then I went to Irvine, and one of the first meets we had was a 10K at Stanford, and I remember coming out of that tunnel like you were talking about, and I'm running with John Butler, who won the state meet in the 2 mile when I was there, Barassa Thomas, who was second or third at Kinney Nationals, Andy DeConnie, who won the state meet in the 2 mile, and we were in 75th or 80th. We were all sucking canal water. And all these idols I had and me just running like crap.
Yeah.
Great memories, right? That's funny.
No. I mean, that is the great thing about cross country is you can have these awesome track runners that you never stay with. And then in cross country, you're like, hey, I'm next to some pretty good runners right now.
Exactly.
It's the
Cool.
great equalizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I wanted to thank you guys. This has been a fantastic conversation. Hopefully you guys liked it too.
Yeah,
so fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we had such similar cross country to not have ever met each other. It feels kind of strange to me.
I know, absolutely. But I definitely know your name and super excited I got to meet you in person.
I'm so excited I got to meet you too.
It's awesome. Now, who thought this would be a good idea? I don't know. Somebody.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty smart.
Exactly.
Connor, good job with the idea.
Yeah, it's a good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Remind these people that are listening what they need to do.
Well, of course, you got to like, comment, and subscribe. And Mr. Rubio himself did offer a free pair of shoes to
Do
people.
you have someone to pick? call a
Not
name
this
out?
week. We got a few more. We're gonna let some people get some more
Well, why don't we
submissions
just
in.
at the very when we do the editing,
Yeah.
put a name up.
Okay. We'll
Okay,
put
you have to look on the YouTube to find out if you want it. Or not.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do something. We gotta keep people engaged.
Okay.
We gotta feed the
That's
You
beast.
mean
right.
we weren't engaging
Yeah,
enough? You have to
no.
throw
You
out
guys are
first.
totally engaged.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
Exactly. That's what you heard your whole life, right? Oh, you're so great. Cool. Well, thanks again, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Until next time.
Yeah. Peace out.